So everyone is stuck in the debate of benching Geno Smith, but here's the thing. Geno is not going anywhere. We are heading into Week 6 game this Sunday against Titans at Allegiant Stadium, and I want to break down what makes this game so compelling despite both teams sitting at 1-4. On paper, these records look identical, but when you peel back the layers and really examine what's happening with these two franchises, you start to see two completely different stories unfolding. What's up, Raiders Nation? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. The Tennessee Titans are coming off that wild victory against Arizona, and yeah, it was fluky as hell. We don't see comebacks like that very often, but here's what matters. They got the win. They found a way. And more importantly, they're starting to see glimpses of what their future can look like with their rookie quarterback Cam Ward. There's a belief system building in Tennessee. They know they have their franchise guy. They understand there are going to be growing pains, some ugly moments, some frustrating turnovers, but they're building something. There's a foundation being laid brick by brick. Now, in contrast with what's happening in Las Vegas, the Raiders are also 1-4, but the vibe couldn't be more different. This is a team that's riding a 4-game losing streak, and nobody saw it coming. When Pete Carroll took over this franchise, when they made the moves they made in the offseason, when training camp wrapped up, expectations were reasonable but optimistic. This was supposed to be a competitive team, a scrappy squad that would fight in every game. Instead, what we're seeing is a franchise in crisis mode, searching for answers that seem to be getting harder and harder to find. The biggest issue, and we can't dance around this anymore, is Geno Smith. 9 interceptions through 5 games, leading the entire league in picks. This isn't what anyone expected from a quarterback who was brought in to be the guy, to stabilize this position, to give this offense a steady hand at the wheel. But instead of steady, we're seeing reckless. Instead of calculated, we're seeing desperate. He's forcing throws into double coverage, triple coverage. He's staring down receivers like he's a rookie learning the position for the first time, except he's not a rookie. This is a veteran quarterback making mistakes that simply cannot happen at this level. What makes it even more frustrating is that after every game, Geno stands at that podium and says all the right things. He talks about being more efficient. He acknowledges the mistakes. He promises to be smarter with football. He watches the film, knows what went wrong. He understands what needs to be corrected. But somewhere between Wednesday practice and Sunday's kickoff, all of that self-awareness evaporates. The same mistakes keep happening. The same poor decisions keep manifesting. And at some point, you have to wonder if this is fixable or if we're simply seeing who Geno Smith really is under pressure. The conversation about Kenny Pickett is already starting to bubble up in Raiders circles, and you know what that means. When fans start calling for the backup quarterback, especially when that backup is Kenny Pickett, who clearly isn't viewed as a long-term answer, things have reached a critical point. Now, I'm not saying Kenny Pickett is the solution. We've seen enough of his career to know he's not going to come in and light the world on fire. But here's the thing. He might not be much worse than what Geno is giving them right now. And when you're at that point in the conversation, when you're weighing whether your backup might be just as effective as your starter, despite limited upside, you've got serious problems. Pete Carroll has that bye week coming up after Week 7. If Geno continues turning the ball over at this rate, if he throws another 2 or 3 interceptions in the next couple games, that bye week becomes decision time. Carroll doesn't want to make a change. That's not what he came here to do. He didn't take this job to be a babysitter or to play musical chairs at quarterback. But you can't keep trotting out a guy who's actively sabotaging your chances to win football games. At some point, the math becomes undeniable. Let's talk about that math for a second, because it really is basic arithmetic here. In the NFL, the team that doesn't beat itself usually wins. This league is so complex, so competitive, that self-inflicted wounds are often the difference between victory and defeat. The Raiders are currently sitting at -6 in turnover differential. That's second to last in the entire league. You cannot overcome that kind of deficit. You cannot spot opposing teams' extra possessions and expect to compete. Every time Geno throws an interception, he's not just making one mistake. He's giving the other team a chance to score. He's demoralizing his own defense. He's killing momentum, and he's shortening the game in ways that make it nearly impossible to mount a comeback. The Titans, meanwhile, are more balanced in that turnover battle. They're in the middle of the pack, which isn't great, but it's manageable. Yes, Cam Ward has thrown some interceptions, but context matters here. Some of those picks came in situations where he was trying to make something happen late in games. Some weren't entirely his fault. And here's the difference. Ward is a rookie learning on the fly. Those mistakes are expected, even if they're frustrating. Geno Smith is a veteran who should know better. The standards are different, and rightfully so. Now, both teams have absolute game records on defense, and this is where things get really interesting. Jeffrey Simmons for Tennessee and Max Crosby for Las Vegas are both wearing number 98. And both are capable of single-handedly destroying a game plan. Simmons has been playing at a Defensive Player of the Year level this season. He's been the best interior defensive lineman in football through 5 weeks. The way he's collapsing pockets, the way he's disrupting running lanes, the way he's demanding double teams and still winning, it's been absolutely elite. For the Raiders' offensive line, which is still trying to find its identity and build chemistry, Simmons represents a nightmare scenario. They're already on their 3rd different configuration after losing Colton Miller to IR. Jordan Meredith is learning the center position on the fly, never having played it before this season. There are times when you see him get beat immediately off the snap, and that's terrifying when you've got a guy like Jeffrey Simmons lined up across from you. Dylan Parham at left guard has been okay, not great. Jackson Powers-Johnson, who everyone loves and who does play with that nasty physical mentality, is solid, but even he can't contain Simmons alone. The Raiders are going to have to be creative. I expect to see a lot of outside runs from Ashton Jeanty, trying to get him in space where he can use his speed and explosiveness to avoid that interior chaos. I expect to see jet sweeps and end-arounds with Trey Tucker, using his wheels to attack the edges and force the Titans' defense to pursue laterally. Chip Kelly is creative enough to scheme around Simmons to some degree, but you can't eliminate him entirely. You can only hope to contain him, slow him down, and make him work for his impact. But stopping him completely, that's not realistic. On the flip side, the Titans have to deal with Max Crosby, and that's a whole different kind of problem. Crosby has elevated his game to another level this season. He's not just rushing the passer anymore. He's dropping into coverage, batting down passes. He even got an interception recently. He's doing all the little things that elite edge rushers do to make game-changing plays. He's the kind of player who demands attention on every single snap. Because if you forget about him for even a second, he'll be in your backfield, wrecking everything. The Titans' offensive line played better last week against Arizona, but let's be honest. The Cardinals' pass rush doesn't have a Max Crosby. Nobody in that front 7 is on his level. J.C. Latham, their top 10 pick from last year, has been out for 4 games now. His backup, Jalen Duncan, has had some good moments, but he's not ready for this level of competition on a consistent basis. There's hope that Latham might return for this game, and if he does, that matchup between him and Crosby becomes must-watch television. But if he doesn't play, if Duncan has to go it alone against Mad Max, that could be a long afternoon for Cam Ward and the Titans offense. Both teams are desperate. Both teams need this win, but one feels like they're building towards something, while the other feels like they're watching it all fall apart. Sunday will tell us which narrative is accurate and which one is about to get a lot more complicated.